And we welcome you to United in Liberty Radio. I'm Dustin Harris.
I'm Joe Olivas.
And we are hanging out in our super secret, deep inside the Rocky Mountain. We're not going to tell you which mountain, but we're deep inside. Bunker-busting bomb couldn't get to us down here. And we got a special treat for you today, folks. Typically when we're talking about what's going on in the world and the current events and how they relate to the 12 Principles of Liberty, we're going to take a little bit of a break from that today, and we're going to talk a little bit about organizing and facilitating a CAC meeting. I have to tell you, Joe, it's going to be tough to take a break from the normal things going on out there, because just in the last couple of days there's been a lot of things happen that I'm kind of itching to talk about, but I guess we'll have to put it aside. Yeah,
it's going to be difficult. I know there's a lot going on. There's a lot on people's minds, but I think this is probably the most important thing we could be talking about right now, just organizing and facilitating these CAC meetings. They're going to be key to what we do in the country and what we do in each individual community. So this is probably the best thing we could be discussing right now.
Let's step back for just a minute and talk a little bit just briefly about United in Liberty for those that are new. And really, this particular broadcast is really for two types of people. Number one, it's for individuals who would like to see something done in the United States of America, who would like to see something done in their local venues, if you will. And we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do and how to get involved. But it's also really for those individuals who are already members of United in Liberty, who are facilitating their own CAC meetings already, but this kind of gives a verbal guide, if you will. It's interesting to me as I talk to individuals who are involved in CAC meetings and sometimes bring up something that's right there in black and white in the CAC Quick Start Guide, and they might look at me and say, "Oh, we're supposed to be doing that?" And that's kind of what we want to talk about today, and get people up to speed. Whether you're a member of United in Liberty or not, we're going to talk about what a CAC meeting is, how you set them up, and what to do with them. Let's start first of all, Joe, by talking a little bit about why United in Liberty was formed.
Well, I mean, the purpose of United in Liberty is just to help individuals gather together, kind of at the local level, grassroots level, and to be able to not only understand what's going on within the country, but be able to understand something that we refer to as the 12 Principles of Liberty. It's very difficult to advocate for the protection of freedom and liberties if you don't understand the principles upon which they were founded, why the Founding Fathers set the country up the way that they did, and how it's supposed to function and work as not only as a country, but as a state, as a community. These principles hold true in all aspects of government, whether it be local and whether it be federal. But we must first be able to understand what those principles are, and that's why United in Liberty was founded, to help people, give people a vehicle to not only understand what these principles were, but to put them into action. I think that's the key part of United in Liberty. We're not just a group associating just for the sake of associating, but we're a group that's dedicated to actually activism and doing things within the community.
You've talked a lot about, Joe, in fact, you and I both have talked about the fact that United in Liberty is really the answer to then what? Once people get upset, once people look around, they turn on the news, they jump on the internet, they open their newspaper, or they just get out in their neighborhoods, get involved in the school districts and their homeowners associations and the county government, the city government, the state government, the national government, whatever it is. People are getting upset across the nation, and I think a lot of people are frustrated. And what they're frustrated at is not so much what's going on, though that's what's provoking the frustration, but the real frustration comes when they say and throw up their arms and say, I don't even know what to do about it. I don't know what I can do personally to make a difference. And I think that's really what United in Liberty was for in the beginning.
Yeah, that's really what it's for, and I think the listeners will find as we go through how to set this up and how to make sure that it's functioning properly, that most individuals, even people who are not members of United in Liberty that may be listening to this broadcast, will find that there are in some way, shape, or form already meeting in what we would refer to as a Community Action Committee or a CAC.
Right, and this really just kind of gives structure to that.
That's right, and it gives people the opportunity to be able to say, okay, now that we're meeting, now what can we do so that we can actually be a part of making change happen? And we're talking about the proper type of change, not change that we've been introduced to as of late.
Yeah, I hear you there. A couple things about United in Liberty. number one, it's nonpartisan. We are not Republican. We are not Democrat. We're not independent. We're not Constitution Party.
We're not communist either.
That is true, which is a good thing. We are not a commercial entity. And one of the things that comes up quite a bit is some people ask, well, are you a nonprofit? Yes, we are a nonprofit. I can say that firmly because, Joe, have you made any money off United in Liberty?
No, I haven't.
No, me neither. Not one penny. Now, the definition, I think, what they're asking is, are you a 501c3 as far as the IRS code goes? We are not, and there's a reason for that. It's something we looked into in the beginning. We found very, very quickly that United in Liberty did not fit the profile of a 501c3 because some commie-crat out there somewhere decided that they were going to put forth these rules and regulations, defining what a quote-unquote nonprofit entity could be, and one of those was they could not be political in nature. In other words, they could not get involved in very specific campaigns, very specific policies and bills out there, and Joe, that's really what we do in United in Liberty is get involved in those types of things.
Oh, absolutely. And I think one of the things that people fail to realize, too, that a 501c3 or nonprofit doesn't mean that organization isn't making any money either. It's just the way that they're set up as an organization. So I think it was better that we didn't go down that route. We're going to be really involved in what takes place in our community on a local level, and we hope as individuals throughout their communities are involved the same way, that the exposure to United in Liberty gives us an opportunity to make an impact as a whole, which would ultimately affect the state and federal level just because of the sheer size of the organization, not because we are going to go ahead and work from the top down.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll talk more about that, the grassroots, as we get into this, as far as what United in Liberty does to actually make or cause change to happen. As people read through the 12 Principles of Liberty, they might see the word God at least once, maybe twice. It's maybe 3 times now that I think about it.
That's right.
He shows up often in what we talk about, both in our CAC meetings and others, but we are a non-denominational group. We'll talk a little bit later about the fact that we do say prayers to begin an opening of a CAC meeting, but we are non-denominational in nature, though, as well. Let's talk first of all. In fact, let me just if I can, Joe, just read to the listeners our mission statement. This can be found at unitedinliberty.org, right on the home page. But our purpose really is to unite freedom-loving patriots in restoring the principles taught by the Founding Fathers, both individually through membership and collectively through affiliation with like-minded groups, to activism through education and association and communication. A couple things just to point out there. Number one, our purpose is to bring people together. Our purpose is to unite individuals as much as we can. But we also, as we've talked about on other shows, we rub shoulders and affiliate with other like-minded groups as well. We are not exclusive in the fact that we're trying to steal from others, from other organizations for our own memberships. The other thing that we need to be aware of is there's no membership dues. We do not charge anyone to be a member of United in Liberty. Again, we're not out there, making tons of money off United in Liberty. We certainly, we encourage the donations. It costs money to be on the radio. It costs money to, rent these venues and keep this thing going. But there are no membership dues. It's free to join. But we do ask that people at least donate their time.
And I think that's a very key point, Dustin. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, there's no such thing as a free lunch. You're going to pay something, and we would ask that you would take the opportunity to join with United in Liberty if you haven't already, but recognize that we're asking for your time, and time is a very valuable commodity nowadays. Individuals do not want to waste any time just because